Hello there, everybody. This is Mel Allen. Do you want to learn baseball, son? Then catch these ABCs. M is for Metsies, the Miracle Clones. P is for Phillies and putouts at home. F for Fernando with his fadeaway pitch. O for the Oakland, still striking it rich. T is for Tigers, burning bright in the east. And A, B, C, D, EFUS. It takes all kinds. Big league swings and sways. Coming up on This Week in Baseball. National League pinups. The LA Dodgers, a pretty fair ball club, and Whitey Herzog's St. Louis Cardinals squared off in St. Louis with Darryl Porter back behind the plate and armed. Porter quickly showed why he'd been missed along the mighty Mississippi. Meanwhile, Tom Lasorda chatted with injured all-star second baseman Davey Lopes while watching rookie replacement Steve Sachs sit in for a few games. Sachs wailed away at the right pitch here and bebopped it out of birdland and outside the Parker. Older Dodgers swingmen like Ron Say were in the mood for playing in the key of D for defense, like Say Hey Man and Wow. Catch? Of course, Steve Garvey, now playing on beyond 900 straight games, prefers to play it straight over the fence, for example. This homer was good enough for Jerry Royce, who pitched a choice game against the Cardinals, blanking them to win game number 7. And that gave LA 13 shutouts this season, tops in the majors. The Dodgers took 2 out of 3, and Darryl Thomas removed all doubt in their other victory, a 3-2 squeaker. Benefiting from the Thomas tater, Fernando Valenzuela, who had the Cardinals singing the blues. Strikeouts for El Toro, who finally won his 10th game, his first since June 1st. Still, since baseball came back, it's the Atlanta Braves who've been setting the Western pace. A double dose of Bob Horner power was administered against Montreal in a doubleheader. 6 for 9, 2 homers, 5 RBIs. But really capturing the imagination of Atlanta fans, rookie Brett Butler. And frankly, my dear, he should have them feigning the aisles if he keeps hitting like this. Now, he's not Rhett Butler, he's Brett Butler. But given a chance to run, he could write the next draft of Gone with the Wind. At any rate, Clark Gable never made plays like this, especially on a baseball diamond. Or throws like this one to save a 2-1 victory. But reliever Rick Camp has been the biggest hero in Atlanta's reconstruction. Though his string of consecutive scoreless innings was finally snapped to 25, Camp had 13 saves altogether, giving the Braves a first-place campground in the West. In the East, the Philadelphia Phillies re-entered the pennant picture. Last year's world champions and this year's first-half winners managed to keep their motivation high despite losing manager Dallas Green, who was suspended indefinitely for bumping an umpire.
We're in the playoffs already. I don't have to win another game. But the Phillies have a great amount of pride in themselves. We want to prove 1980 wasn't a fluke. We want to prove that we are one of the best teams in baseball. The only way you can do that is to win.
Ever since last year's playoff series, the Houston Astros have won nothing from Philadelphia. Gary Matthews and his .300 bat is the only major personnel change for the Phillies since then. But this year, everything seems to have changed between the two clubs. Unlike the seesaw battles of the championship series, Houston-Philadelphia confrontations have been one-sided affairs, with the Phillies winning 6 of 6, including a recent 3-game sweep at the Vet. While Houston tries to knock Philly off its high horse, staunch defenders such as Manny Trillo say, nothing doing. Some clutch plays at the plate spelled the difference last year. This year, the Phillies keep rerunning those plays. Keith Moreland, Philadelphia's future behind the plate, made himself feel very present with 2 homers to help beat the Astros in one game. And that made a 9-game winner of Dick Ruthven, a key figure in Houston's denial of a pennant last year. And from the astrological point of view, or anyone else's, Mike Schmidt just can't be charted. Man, he keeps blasting away. 21 homers, 61 RBIs, leading the majors, and this one's a grand slam. Tug McGraw is once again pulling down the final curtain. McGraw helped Steve Carlton earn his 10th win as they shut out the Astros to complete the sweep, while improving Philly prospects of winning both ends of the split season. Meanwhile, the New York Mets are out to win their end of the bargain, and they ain't just toddling around. They're getting a real feel for things. Who's making this metamorphosis of Joe Torre a winner? Well, some are familiar veterans, like shortstop Frank Taveras. Other side now, Frank. Thank you. And, of course, Dave Kingman, the power source. Kong turned defeat around with this 8th-inning grand slammer against Cincinnati, tying him with Johnny Bench and Willie Stargell for most career slams by an active player, 11. For the first time since 1973, when they won a pennant, the Mets won 2 straight in Cincinnati, doing it the hard way. Red-hot Neil Allen saved both victories. In 7 appearances, Allen was untouchable, saving 5 and winning the other 2. That also meant he had taken a hand in 16 of the Mets' first 25 wins. In both games, the Reds appeared headed for victory. Tom Seaver, well versed in past Mets mischief, saw this bad 9th-inning streak work in his favor. But in the 10th inning, reserve Bob Baylor stepped up with another runner at third. Again a play at the plate, but this time he is safe. Leading 3-2, Neil Allen faced slugging George Foster with 2 down. Now watch Bob Baylor. How about that? Victory the hard way, folks. But it's been working pretty well for the somewhat amazing New York Mets. Now, time for this week's Volkswagen quiz, brought to you by the 1981 models. Volkswagen does it again. Veteran reliever Mike Marshall joined his 9th big league team recently, the New York Mets, and this week won his first ball game in more than a year. In 1974, Marshall set a National League record with 106 appearances for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Now, can you name the pitcher who holds the American League record for most games in a season? Stay tuned. American League East, second season realignment. Pennant fevers strikes the Motor City. The Detroit Tigers, with Sparky Anderson directing traffic, have put the pedal to the metal. Steve Kemp keeps the Tigers purring along, also gets some good long-distance mileage on occasion, while other Bengals keep refueling an offense of interchangeable parts. Richie Hebner, for example, is one of many workers to deliver a winning number on Detroit's high-rolling wheel to the top. But the real difference is pitching. Senor Smoke, Aurelio Lopez, changed brands from bullpen to starting core and proved he could still blow 'em out. And Kevin Soche, the possessed one, continues to lead the league's hottest bullpen with 12 saves and an ERA around 1 run per 9. Now that's sublime. And helping to secure Detroit's rapidly improved mound work, the steadiest and readiest defensive patrol in the league. Citizen Bandit and sure-handed. After the Tigers had turned over 8 straight wins, they trailed Texas 4-3 in the 9th inning. Lynn Jones, the batter, a 300 hitter with little power, so they said. But there it is, deep to left field, and that ball is going, and it's gone. Jones' second homer of the year, and it ties the score. Then pinch hitter Rick Peters, 1 for 24 in the second half, got a break. Steve Kemp brings home the bacon for the sizzling Tigers' 9th straight win and 20th in 25 outings, giving Detroit a heartening lead in the first laps of the second season in the American League East. In the American League West, the hot hand moved to the Oakland A's, winner of 5 straight, thanks to the wages of Billy Ball. Should the A's win twice, they'll still play again in a playoff, but Billy Martin isn't about to cry over split milk.
Well, I think we deserved it because we were that much ahead of everybody else. But that doesn't necessarily mean we'll go right into the World Series. I'd like to win the second half, too.
So Oakland keeps reaching for the heights in this macabre season. And in left field, one man continues to outrun just about everyone and everything, Ricky Henderson. Also still on target, the long baller Tony Armas, who's hitting close to 400 with men in scoring position. Armas raised his homer total to 17 and grabbed the RBI lead with 53. One glaring weakness in Oakland's Kitty Core pitching staff had been the bullpen, but Bob Ochinko helped it come out of the shade. Ochinko was A-OK, leading the league in ERA. And leading the league in complete games is Rick Langford, who keeps the bullpen in the bullpen. Langford shut out the Orioles for his 13th complete game of the season and 41st in his last 48 starts. Other starters like Matt Keogh with an 8-3 record keep making Oakland's pitching statistics the classiest in the majors. Yes, sir. Seems like the A's intend to graduate with honors in the American League West, whether first semester or second semester. As for last year's champion Kansas City Royals, they've had a tough time contending for either pennant, first or second. Manager Jim Fry, who must have wanted to chew out his guys more than once this year, met up with the New York Yankee Ball Club, which the Royals had swept away in the championship series less than a year ago. Both clubs had struggled of late, but the Royals got the early jump in the opener of a 3-game series in New York. Yankee killer Larry Gura continued his hypnotic spell over New York's sleeping bats with a 3-hit shutout for his 7th victory of the season. But after that, playing the defending champion Royals seemed like silly kid stuff for the Yankees. KC made more than its share of misappropriations. just royal headache. Willie Wilson takes it on the bean. And Larry Milburn takes advantage. Milburn's first homer. Compliments of Kansas City. Given 5 runs, Rick Royschel pitched 6 trimmed shutout innings for his first win in pinstripes. And given 8 runs the next day, Ron Guidry pitched 7 shutout innings for his 8th victory. In 3 second season starts, Guidry hasn't allowed a run. But overall, the early second season had been a whitewash for both New York and Kansas City. Now back to this week's Volkswagen quiz. Mike Marshall in 1979 established an American League record when he pitched in 90 games for the Minnesota Twins. That's, of course, the same Mike Marshall who set the National League record 5 years earlier with the Dodgers. A rare instance where one player holds the same record in both leagues. Next week, Volkswagen will ask you again. Hey there, partner. If you're looking for some high times, you're looking the wrong way. Other way, pal. See? Dave LaRoche is playing this funny game with Willie Wilson. Now watch. Now what was that? Danged if Willie knew, but they called it a ball. This old-fangled pitch has been called a blooper and an ephus, but called that one a strike. Think he'll try it again? What do you think, Dave? Let's see what Dave throws. How about that? Strike 3. Hey, run, Willie. You can do that, you know, on 3rd strikes. But now he feels guilty, like he didn't really deserve to get there. LaRoche agrees and says, if you don't mind, I'll take that back. Gotcha. Now there's a true victim of the blooper. Blooping along now to Cincinnati. The New York Mets were really playing the field. I mean the whole field. Dave Concepcion figures 2's enough, but the Mets figure a bit different. Such generosity, but the Mets aren't finished yet. Finally, someone backs it up and wisely decides to just hold on to the dumb ball. Now hear this, the defense does not always rest. Witness these exhibits and judge accordingly. Guarding the outer courtyard, Harold Bain, Chicago White Sox. Ricky Henderson, Oakland. Gene Richards, San Diego. Tom Paciorek, Seattle. All inadmissible. The inner court, Dan Dreesen, Cincinnati. Manny Trillo, Philadelphia. Ozzie Smith, San Diego. Ray Knight, Cincinnati. The New York Mets' Frank Taveras, grounds of class action. Armed for defense, Gary Matthews, Philadelphia. Mickey Rivers, Texas. Jeff Burroughs, Seattle, to Gary Gray to Jerry Nara. Case closed and the defense rests. Moving now to the lower courts and a serious case in stolen bases. Jeff Stone of the Phillies Class A Spartanburg Farm Club beat Miguel Delaney's league record of 95 stolen bases and had 115 with just 6 games to go. The all-time record is 120, and the 20-year-old Stone still had a chance. Not bad for a guy no one drafted. And right up from A-ball, Kent Herbeck of the Minnesota Twins, recipient of this week's Gillette Special. In his first Major League game, Herbeck got his first RBI against the Yankees in New York. A native of Minneapolis, the young first baseman made quite a leap from Class A ball.
My mom and dad were home, and they had a bunch of people over at their place last night watching it on TV. And yeah, I guess it was pretty exciting around Bloomington. It was pretty wild last night, especially after the 12th inning was over.
So, in the 12th, Kent found himself batting with the game tied at 2-all. George Frazier delivered, and so did Herbeck. Deep to right center. Going, it's gone. How about that? A game-winning homer to beat the Yankees in his Major League debut. Now, that is something to talk about.
You know, I was going to tell the guys, at least I hit one out during batting practice, and then last night I got to call everybody and tell them I hit one out during the game, so it was pretty exciting.
Congratulations, Kent, and see you next week, folks, on This Week in Baseball.